This is Geometry Lesson 1-3. Today's date is August 30th. I'm recording this August 29th. Today is Friday. I am not here because Riley's sick yet again. So before we begin, make sure that we've done the homework. If I come back over here to geometry, we can see that today we are doing measure angles, angle types, vertical angles. All those three assignments are going to be on Khan Academy. Then we'll have that nice 3-day weekend, and when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to be on lesson 1-4. No surprise quizzes or anything. So make sure you've done your homework, your quiz, finished up your quiz, got your nice score from yesterday. And make sure that you've been updating your unit guide. Let's see who's been updating their unit guide for geometry thus far. It looks like almost everyone. Good job. So if your name hasn't been updated, please go and update your unit guide right now. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. Our objective today is to measure angles with a protractor, identify types of angles, and to use vertical angles. Let's start off with that protractor. So here is a picture of a common protractor. The one I'm going to be using for this video is a little bit different, but the general idea is you put the vertex on this little center part. So this is going to be where the vertex goes. And if you can't tell already, you are going to need a protractor. I think I left a box of really tiny ones out. I don't know if there's enough for the entire class. You might have to share, but they're up at the front where all the spare pencils are. So maybe you need to pause the video now and grab this and practice using it. Of course, you will be using digital ones on Khan Academy, but for the notes today, you will be using physical ones. So you put the vertex here, and if you don't like the word vertex, maybe you like using the word corner. So if I come back down here and I say, you can think of this as the corner of the angle. Alright, so once you line that up, then you need to have one of these lines. It doesn't matter if you go this left line or this right line, but maybe this right line right here, this is going to line up with part of the angle. So I'm going to say that's part of the angle. And as long as the part of the angle is at 0 or on this 0, it doesn't matter, just start counting from that 0. So say it goes from here to right there, then you can say, well, it goes from 0 and then it goes to 60. Some people might think, oh, that's a 120-degree angle, that's really big. No, you're counting wrong. You have to count from the inside from this side. If you start on this side, then you need to start counting on the outside because those are getting progressively bigger. So it depends on where you're lining it up. So let's go to example 1. So pull out your handy dandy protractor, not called a compass, a protractor. Move this guy out. Again, this is where I'm going to put the vertex right in that center part. So I'm going to put it right on that corner, that vertex, and then I'm going to rotate this so that one of the lines of the angle, one of the rays of the angle, is directly on that edge here. And you can see that this angle now comes up here, and it's kind of hard to see. I know that I made these angles kind of hard or kind of small, but you can see it comes up here to about 45 degrees. It comes up in between 40 and 50. So I'm going to call this angle, I'm going to call that 45 degrees. We'll write that down, 45 degrees. Go ahead and find this angle and this angle on your own. Please pause the video now. Okay, you've unpaused the video. Let me show you what's going on here. So I'm going to put the vertex right there, rotate this bad boy around to one of these, and it looks like I'm counting on the outside here. Looks like I have about 78. That would be my professional opinion. This is going to be 78 degrees. And then again for this other angle, lining up the vertex. So this one is a little bit difficult because the the protractor can only measure smaller than 180, while the angle we're trying to get is over 180. So I'm just going to measure the wrong side. So sure, let's try going from there. If I come all the way over here, it looks like we get about 148. I'll call it 148. So if this angle is 148, let's move you out of the way. So this angle over here is 148, but that's not the angle that we need. We need this angle over here. Well, I know that there's 360 degrees in a circle, so I just have to do 360 minus 148. Or another way of thinking about it is if I count 32 more, then I'll this angle right here is like 32 degrees plus 180. So you can think of 32 plus 180, which is 212. I'm probably messing that up. 360 minus 148, 212. All right. So come back here. This is going to be 212 degrees. That is the final answer that I'm looking for. All right, let's get this guy out of the way. Just delete him. Let's do angle types. I'm sure that you've probably seen these before, whether 7th grade, 8th grade, somewhere in the near past, I'm guessing. A right angle. So the definition of right angle is it's 90 degrees. A picture of a right angle. I wonder if I can use the line tool here. Let's do the color blue. So if I go make this is a right angle, and usually we annotate that with a little square to say it's the right angle. All right, acute angle, that is something that is less than, this is the symbol for less than 90 degrees. So something that's less than 90 degrees, come back here to the line tool, looks like this. And of course you do need to annotate, are you talking about the inside or the outside? I'm talking about the inside right here. Obtuse angle needs to be greater than 90 degrees. So what is an example of an obtuse angle? Something that looks like this. It comes like this and bigger than 90 degrees. And we'll say this angle right there. And a straight angle, you guys can probably guess. I'll do the picture first and you can guess what the measurement is. But here's a straight angle. Boom, like that. And this angle right here. Guess how many degrees that is? It is exactly equal to, maybe I should put equal to here, it is exactly equal to 180 degrees. That is called a straight angle. Those are the 4 that you'll be needing for the homework tonight, and just be able to use these vocab words with them. And the last part of our objective today is vertical angles. All right, so what are the vertical angles? So angles blank of each other when 2 lines cross. Well, let's have 2 lines that cross, so we have a tiny little picture. So there's 2 lines that are crossing. Those lines technically go on forever and ever because they're not line segments, so I can do little arrows and say that they are indeed lines, not line segments, although this works for line segments as well. But it's these 2 things, so this angle and this angle. How do we say that in words? These are opposite. So it's the angles opposite of each other when 2 lines cross. Opposite of each other when 2 lines cross. Make sure you have the picture. Vertical angles are, so there's a very specific word in geometry that says the same. You can say that the measure of the angles of the vertical angles are equal. I think a lot of people really like the word equal. They know that it means it's the same. So these little tick marks will say it's the same in the picture. And if I'm just talking about the angles, not the measure of the angles, not how big they are, if I'm just only talking about the angles, the word I use is congruent. Congruent. And congruent is a word that basically means equal, but it talks about the shape instead of the number. Equal is talking about the number. So the measure is talking about the number, whereas the angles is talking about the geometrical shape. Shapes can be congruent, numbers can be equal. So those are very unique terms. You'll have to figure out when to use one, when to use the other. All right, we are on to the back side now. Oops, let's get rid of that. On to the back side. Example number 2. So my question now is this angle x, is that greater than, less than, or equal to 108 degrees? Well, they're just lines, so and they may not be line segments in this case, but they're definitely just lines. There's nothing special here, so it's exactly equal to 108. It's C. Nothing fancy. However, on example 3, now the lines aren't quite lines. I mean, this line is clearly a line, but this one is 2 separate lines. It's not straight. So is the following angle x right here greater than, less than, or equal to 78? And it might be a little bit hard to think about it. Just eyeballing it isn't really enough. They look too close to each other. But the way to figure this one out is what would happen if this blue line, let me change the color to red so it maybe pops out a little bit more. What would happen if that blue line was straight? If it was straight, it should look like that, and that now makes a straight line. So if it was the original angle, this angle right here with the red line would be 78, but I have this extra little bit, so it's a little bit more than 78, so the answer is A. And that's the general way that you want to be thinking about these problems. If you have another way of thinking about it that works, then go with that. All right, and that is the end of the notes. Do not do your summary, just like before. Summary is going to be for homework, and you can begin on Khan Academy right now. I hope you guys have a nice 3-day weekend.